I haven't posted a video in a while, and in fact, I've had a few plumbing disasters in the past couple months. One with this old ancient toilet, which I didn't film because I was under duress, and again with this sink that I didn't film while I was doing it because whenever you have a plumbing problem, it's a shit show. So the problem was this morning I did all my chores, and the last thing I do before I go to work is wash my face, brush my teeth, get ready, and I turned that off, and the water kept running. So I was like, holy shit, I'm late for work. I got a running water situation. So what I did was I grabbed this pipe wrench, and I'm not sure you can see it, but there's a couple shutoffs down there, and they were seized. Probably hasn't been touched in years. So I had to get a pipe wrench on there, on this hot side, and I had to shut it. And I shut it, and it was still, I got it to the point where the sink was just dripping, and that was the best I could do. And my fear was, because it's an old shut-off, that would start leaking. So I put it off, and I came home, and first thing I said was, how do I get this handle off? Well, on a lot of sink faucet handles, there's a hex Allen set screw that you loosen, and this pulls right off. Every sink is a little different, and you never know, and you never can play until you start digging in. On this one, this cap popped off, so I just took my screwdriver, and lo and behold, it did pop off finally, and there was a flathead screw under here that I had to loosen, and then this handle pulled right off. And this was the suspect valve cartridge that was failed. So I pulled it out, and all of a sudden, everything started leaking on the bottom of the sink. So I was like, oh no, what did I do? Are all my shut-off valves busted now? And there was water pouring out. We had buckets under everything. And I ran to Home Depot, and you can see here, it cracked right there. And that was why it was, when I shut it off, it must have just gave away and it just started pouring through. So this was the bad one. And when you go to Home Depot or any hardware store and there's 1,000 of these on a rack, it's really hard to figure out which one is the one that replaces yours. And sometimes if your sink's too old, good luck. And good luck asking somebody to help you because they're usually not any more intelligent than you are. So I just sat there knowing my sink was leaking at home and held them side by side and bought a replacement cartridge, and it looked like the exact same item, and I had to use a pipe wrench to take this one out. You can see it's a kind of like a pipe thread, so I had to get a pipe wrench to break this loose, and I had to use a pipe wrench to screw the next one in. And once we put that back in there and put the handle back on, the leak underneath the sink slowed. So I think what was happening is the water that was still dripping out of here was falling underneath, and it was giving the appearance that we had a bigger problem. But as soon as I put the new cartridge in, the leaking slowed. As you can see, the sink works. And the problem is, because I cracked that valve, it's leaking, so I have a bucket under there. And whenever you get into old plumbing, something else is going to leak, and it's going to cascade into a bigger problem. And I think we were able to contain this, but this valve over here is still dripping, so we have a bucket under there. And my hope is, and I've had this experience with other repairs, that it'll just kind of set up and stop leaking. And if it keeps leaking, then we're going to have to take another avenue here. But so if you have a sink that won't turn off, you probably have a failed cartridge or a gasket. I've never had one fail like this because I'm not used to these cartridges failing like that. Usually it's just a washer, a gasket, spring, and they just drip. This never dripped or anything. It just failed open. So everything seems to be secure now. I guess I'm sorry I didn't walk you through all the work, but everything was leaking and splashing, and I had to run to Home Depot, come back, hope it was working. But the issue here is, the main takeaway is, you never know what you're getting into. You have to start just seeing what you have, whether it's a set screw or some kind of cap that pops off, and then you're always going to expect the problem to cascade into leaks in other areas. So be ready with rags and buckets. And you know, this pipe wrench is my best friend. I swear to God, I've used this for so many things that nothing else will work on. And again, when you go to Home Depot or True Value for a replacement, you spend some time studying it, because you want to make sure it's the equivalent item to repair with. So, sink's fixed. We have a little leak. Expect that to happen too, and just give it some time, and hopefully it'll set up. Otherwise, it's a torch and pipe replacement time and a plumber. All right, hope you enjoyed this, and I'm sorry it took so long for me to post another video. Take care.